Hello, people. Just want to ask you a question, and I think every man should ask this question sometime in his life for himself: is what do you really know? Without a doubt, if somebody asks me, what do I know? It's a very hard question to answer. I can say I know that I'm plus minus 36 or 37 years old. I was born in 1984. Do I know the exact date? No, I wasn't fully conscious. My conscience to determine time and day weren't developed yet. Just for an example. It wasn't fully developed, but what I do know is the children that grew up with me must have been the same age as me, and the children I saw born afterwards. So, what I'm getting at is there's certain things that you can say you know. But let's go to the Bible and say, do we really know that is correct? Now, I'm a Christian and I believe the Bible. That was a spiritual encounterment and a testimony of my life that made me decide to believe the Bible. Did I go into other theories? Did I test other things? Did I seek the truth? Yes, it's every man's responsibility to make sure what he knows or what he believes is true. The little evidence out there supports that the biblical places and the people there is true. Just the little evidence that there is. Let's go about the theory of evolution. Is there any supporting evidence? Now, a lot of people will say, "Oh, okay, you're going to that side, The theory of evolution, the first one, says that in the beginning there was nothing, and nothing means nothing. How can that ever be proven? If you take the word science, it means something that you can demonstrate and observe. How can anyone ever demonstrate and observe that? See, the evidence supporting the Bible, you can say there is nothing. Because do you really know it? Can you go anywhere, to any place, and say, this was the place, this happened, this was the place, that happened? All we know is what we are being taught, what we see online, what we experienced. But can we really believe what we hear and what we see? Yes, of course we can at least believe what we see. Let me just give you this example. One night, me and my brother-in-law, we were at a campsite, a wild park or wild reserve park or something, and we made a bonfire. Now, in our country, they are busy with load shedding, and just before the lights went off, because we had a light by the braai area and everything, I saw over a hill. Now I know during the day I can see that there's a valley and then it forms a hill. And I can see there's trees, but I didn't see any buildings, any houses or anything. But during the night, while I'm standing by the fire, I see a light there in the far. And it's flickering. Now, a fire in the distance looks like it's flickering. So I can immediately assume maybe they're also busy making a fire. But then yet again there was trees. And there was kind of a breeze that night. So a breeze can also form, when a light is behind it, a kind of a flicker effect. So I can say, okay, that could be a fire, or that could be a light. And then load shedding came, and the lights went all off, and then I still could see there's the same thing. The light is still there, flickering. So immediately I can say, okay, now I'm about 90% sure that is a fire. There's still 10% chance that that could be a solar light, a light connected to solar energy on a backup battery, because it's night, it won't obviously get the electricity from the solar. I wouldn't know. So I cannot, if I want to be a fool, because that's what the definition of a fool is to speak about something you don't know about. To claim the truth of something you don't have evidence about. So I can be a fool the next day, and I could tell everyone, hey, I see that there was somebody making a fire there in the distance. That's an assumption. But when you believe something, then the definition of that is belief, is that's the truth for you. I can maybe believe it's a light according to the evidence I've obtained, but I cannot convince anyone else, because that's something I believe. That's why I believe in Jesus, because I had the encounter, and I have a long time of testimonies that can tell me without a doubt God is real. I cannot enforce you. I cannot give you any argument or anything that must tell you that's something you should believe. I can remember one morning I watched YouTube videos about this debates between evolutionists and Christians, and at the end of the day, when they get cornered into a certain way, some of them, they start swearing God, the atheists. And then I'm like, why do you swear God if you don't even believe in God? So I know that sometimes we have this argument and we're pushing our beliefs around, Christians and non-Christians or whatever religion, on the fact that what we want people to know and believe. But you should ask yourself, what do you really believe? And you can say, you don't. It's nothing to me, nothing to the rest of the world. So at the end of the day, is it about, do you really want to know the truth? Because the thing is, if you seek the truth, you will find it. Some people don't need much evidence. They just need to hear some guy with a lot of papers talking, and they will say, that must be the truth. I can remember growing up in a small town, the scientist teacher we had said, don't worry about evolution, you just teach it, read it, know it, get through it, because this is what we need to teach you, but that's not the truth. And you say, that's why you don't believe it. No, I did the research. You say, then you say, okay, do you ignore carbon dating? Let's just take that for one argument, carbon dating. It was disproven. Not even long ago, it says it cannot even be accurate to 50 years. And if you want to know if there's a truth, do the research. Do the research. I can remember when I went to work in the city, I actually thought everyone had that attitude about it. And I realized my colleagues, they all believed in evolution. So I started asking them, but just give me the proof. What proof do you have that convinced you to believe it? And I once say, oh, but it's just a theory, but the theory, you need a theory to know what to work towards. And I'm like, where do you get that from? Who decided that? Who decided just in science we need theories, fairy tales? You know, that's actually the definition of theory. It's a grown-up fairy tale. That's all you need. It's like I tell you, if we put 1 + 1 on this board, and before anyone can answer, we say, whoa, no. Let's just go sit around the table and we guess the answer. Now, obviously, that's easy. So now you want to take complex situations that cannot even be proven. You make a theory about it. And by the way, I know the new theory is not in the beginning, there was nothing. They changed it after they had an argument about matter. They say matter cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed, so it had to be there from the start. So why didn't all the theories adapted from, or originated from the first theory, also adapted to that new theory? Now listen here, I don't know, I was actually surprised looking at some of these debates. Some of the people never even heard the theory of evolution, and they believe it. And then they're like, okay, you believe that you all come from a dot, that everything was squished into a dot smaller than a period in a page, and then it all exploded, and then all of that, everything you know, everything matter. Does it matter? I don't know. Maybe it does. But all matter is rock, all the elements of the predictable table, what do you call it? Sorry, I'm actually other language. All that on that table was squished into that small dot, smaller than a period of a page. A full stop, smaller than that. You know, all the engineering you get, maybe there's more advanced now, I don't know, but I know there was a time when they said we need to at least compress metal, scrap metal, into a certain, as small as we can, so we can transport as much as we can to the melt. They can't even squish a car smaller than almost a meter by meter block. Now imagine they can squeeze a bunch of cars this small. How much you will save on transport? Yes, the weight will obviously stay the same. Now I hear this one argument, this one lady say, no, we all know that's not how it started. It didn't start from that dot, it started from a star forming from nowhere, and then all the mass the star leaves when it dies eventually became the earth and all that. Okay, you know that cannot be even slightly proven. You had to be there to believe it. It's simple to go through life and question everything. It's very simple. Because in the end of the day, you will sit with this, that what do I know? You see, a lot of people claim they're realists, but they believe everything they hear and they see. You know, this life is more conceptive and deceiving and corrupt if we have to consider the proof out there. Now I kind of see myself also as a realist, not in the definition they say they do. See, God is more real to me than whatever I see and hear on this earth. Mainstream media. How many times were people proven to be faked? I mean, the guy that started the theory of carbon dating, he was proven to be a fraud. He falsified data. And it's still being taught on schools and still being showed on TV and documentaries that this was tested to be this old and this was tested by carbon dating and this was tested with this old. The one colleague told me he was the most educated according to papers that worked with us. And at the end of the day, when nobody can give me the proof, just their theory tales, he one day sit there. And before I even started speaking, he said, why would scientists lie? Because he already now started to ask him, because I know he's the most educated. Just want to ask. I mean, if there's proof, give it to me. I want to know. I'm not ignorant. I'm not naive. If you could give me the proof, show me the proof, I'm not going to stare it in the face and say, hey, this is not the truth. So I thought him, at least, must have had some kind of evidence that say, hey, you know, the most people that I ever asked have some kind of question. Like, in his case, why would scientists lie? Before I can even ask the question, do you have proof? Can I see it? Why would scientists lie? Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, I think, that don't know scientists are actually human. They are capable of lying, and there's evidence. The guy that drew the pictures of the fetus forming, it was falsified. He was caught out, and still they put that in the school books today. So, the most people I've talked to, this is their evidence. It's just a question. Why would scientists lie? You see this mountain, it must have taken a million years to form. Says who? Were you there a million years ago? Then you can ask me the same question. Was I there 6,000 years ago, plus minus, when God created the earth? No. But I rather believe nothing than believe anything without proof. See, I believe in the Bible because it was a spiritual encounter I had. But what does other people have that give you something you should believe in? When somebody tells you, hey, you should believe this. Okay, what do you believe? Oh, I had a spiritual encounter. I just feel it in my gut that there was nothing. And then two molecules formed and they crashed into each other and an explosion happened. Not even one tested instance in this whole earth I know of. Maybe there has, but has it ever been encountered or written down that the explosion actually created something without anything but chaos or particles all flying all over the place? I once heard this one guy said somebody took a firecracker, taped it in the guy's hand, and the hand all exploded. And I said, if we can look at that instance, was there anything created? And he says, no, well, why don't you try it? I say, well, it was done. Why would I need to blow up my hand to prove anything? What will we do to prove anything? We don't need to. We don't need to prove anything. Because we cannot prove the Bible. But it's a decision you have to make if you become a Christian. And I know there's a lot of doctrines out there and theology. You see, if a man has a revelation, who gives him the right to tell us that that's the truth? One man's revelation, a guy in Scotland, he believed in evolution, said there must have been, before the creation, between Genesis 1 and 2, there must have been something else. God cannot create something without form and void. Really? Then why did he create Adam to name the animals in the kingdom? No, Adam should have just known it. I mean that's the kind of argument people put out there. You know, something without form means it's a piece of clay. How can we call God I don't know that word in English. No, not a carpenter. A guy that works with clay. How can we call God that and He's forming us? If a perfect God would have created something from the start without faults, without needing to go through a process, growing up, It was God's plan from the start. That's why we are like we are. That's why we build houses from foundation up and not just speak words and it happens. We are created in His image. And you say, okay, but wait, what did Adam do? Well, at least he named the animals before the tree incident. It's the same argument, I think. I can disagree, it doesn't matter. Okay, my point. Yeah, so without form and void doesn't mean damaged or destructed. It wasn't destroyed. It was just without form and void. Void means it didn't return anything. Until God created the plants and the beasts and the humans, then it started returning everything. I should move actually this thing. And then again, if you do believe in that theology, if God made everything perfect from the start and just with one word, why did it take 6 days to restore it? I mean, there's so much arguments. I'm sorry, I cannot believe that. I believe in the written word of God. It's even one of the 10 commandments that He said, I created the heavens and the earth in 6 days. It's one of the 10 commandments. It starts like that. And it says, and for the 7th day you will make holy. Okay, whether you should believe the Sabbath or anything, that's another argument. But it's in the 10 commandments. Moses went and he chipped it out after he broke it, all 10 at once. I heard this one minister made this joke and that was actually funny. He was the only man that broke all 10 commandments at one time. I mean, literally broke it, but figuratively it's funny. Yeah, so ask yourself and do anything you can in your rather just go around life saying, I think this is how this works, I think this is how to. Because there's a system that made us out to be fools. We go around and say we know things when we don't even have the slightest proof. I think that's what point I wanted to make. And please comment, leave something if you think you have some proof of any kind, of anything. Leave the comment, leave a link. See, I don't want to go into much detail and who said this and who said that. I made a decision in my life that I'm not going to fame, blame or shame anyone. No one is worth of fame and we all are in blame. So what's the point? I was wrong a lot of time in my life. The times when I thought thought something and I spoke to it as if it was the truth. And a lot of times we still do it. When we believe in something, we say this is like this. God created the heaven and the earth in 6 days. See, for me, that's the truth. Because I believe that. And there's a lot of Christians that don't believe that. They believe there was something before that and whatever. We will one day know. But all I know is the supporting evidence, what I've seen. And excuses of why it's not like the Bible says. Because there is no supporting evidence. You see, all this history book was dated back 6,000 years, plus minus. That's the oldest history book ever found. You say, okay, what about that little animals drawing on? Okay, fine, let's say that was 10,000 years back. That means consciousness of humanity only started 10,000 years back. But I don't believe that, because they used carbon dating to determine the ink and the rock. I mean, that rock can't be 10,000 years old. If the scientists already decided that matter cannot be created. if you take the whole earth, the rock on the face of the earth, and on the bottom where the magma is, or lava, that's the same age. And so how can you say that? Well, first of all, scientists have decided that. I don't believe it because of that. But I believe that I've never seen a rock have a little baby rock. You cannot tell me that the top earth is younger than the bottom earth, because I've never seen two rocks conceive a little baby rock. And then they all decided, all the rocks here, decided, hey, the younger rocks must live on top. They must live on top, and so yeah, they just are making babies and all the... I mean, so how can you say a rock is 10,000 years old if in the same mindset you have that matter cannot be created nor destroyed? So it must have been there. So you cannot do carbon dating on something that's been the same age ever. And say, okay, what about animals? Dead animals. The mammoth they did tests on, the skin was, the skin was older than the bones, about a couple of thousand years older than the bones. You want to tell me that that mammoth walked with his skin for a couple of thousand years before he grew bones? It's inconsistent with what I've been found. Yeah. I said another point. Yeah, that's it. Now I've been feeling I want to, I wake up in the morning and then I feel God speaking to me something. Like that time when I was looking at these debates and I asked God, why would there be people that don't believe in God? Why would there be someone like atheists? And then I just feel God ask me, would you have believed if you had no testimony? If you did not have any testimony, would you still believed, whatever, You know what I'm trying to say. And it's a hard question to answer. In a world with so many voices screaming what you should believe, and manipulations, intimidations. I've seen that most people, if you ask them a question and they think, I can just see it's narcissistic to call a person names that ask you, what proof do you have? It's manipulation that says you're dumb if you should believe something without proof. Don't be manipulated or intimidated. I rather believe nothing, like I said, if there's no proof, than believe anything without proof. And I know sometimes it feels like we don't really have a decision of what we should and what we should not believe. Even people question God. And if you even read in the Bible, there's a lot of, and we all do it, we all question God one time or another, or a million times in our life. And even God answers with respect. Why can't we question people? I've met some ministers that you don't question. It's abomination if you question them. And there's a lot of people, it's an abomination when you question them. Then why does God allow us to question Him? Seek and you will find. It's a promise God made. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.